We're going from 0 to 60 with the Little Mermaid, so let's get cracking! Hello all my explorers, and welcome back to Loren's Adventures Out There. And if you are new, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. My name is Loren, and I'm with Castles, Capes, and Clones, where we discuss everything in the Disney universe. We do unboxings and hauls, pins, box swaps, Disney news, Disney reviews, and more. So if that sounds fun to you, we'd love it if you would subscribe to our channel, hit the bell for notifications, and do like this post, as it really does help us out. So we are continuing our series from 0 to 60, which is our look at the films of the Walt Disney Animation Studios in chronological order. We started with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and we will be going up to Encanto, the 60th film. Today we have reached the Disney Renaissance with 1989's The Little Mermaid. The movie is about a mermaid who wants to be amongst the humans, and she falls in love with this prince from afar, and she even has her little grotto and collected a big statue of Prince Eric, the prince that she's in love with, and her father discovers of her love of the human world and destroys her grotto and forbids her to go to the human world at all. So Ariel takes it into her own hands. She goes to visit the sea witch Ursula, and Ursula gives her legs at a cost. She has to have Eric kiss her in 3 days, and she does not get to have her voice. So Ariel tries to win over Eric, but along the way Ursula foils her attempts, and finally Ursula does. Ariel turns into a little shriveled creature, which was in the contract, and her father comes to rescue her, and so does Eric, and we'll leave the ending to you. Anyway, this was the start of the Renaissance. The Little Mermaid actually started development back in the 30s with Walt Disney, and he wanted it to come out after Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, but they never got to a place where they wanted to run with it, and it was put on the shelf for years. Then in the 80s, in 1985, Ron Clements pitched the idea of doing The Little Mermaid. Well, during this Gong show that I talked about during the Oliver and Company episode, and Jeffrey Katzenberg said, no, it's too close to Splash, which was a film with Tom Hanks and Daryl Hannah in 1984. It was a hit for Touchstone Films. And so anyway, the next day, though, Jeffrey Katzenberg kind of approved the idea of developing the film. And so both Ron Clements and John Musker ran with this. They developed a 20-page script based on the story. And unfortunately, because they were working on Who Framed Roger Rabbit and Oliver and Company, it was shelved for a while. And then after that, it was picked up again, and they started developing it. Jeffrey Katzenberg saw this as a musical. He brought in Howard Ashman, who was a new talent at the time. He Howard Ashman brought in his writing partner, Alan Menken. The two of them did The Little Shop of Horrors and started working on more of a Broadway musical style. And he was very instrumental to the story. He's credited for having one of the best soundtracks in Disney history. His lyrics were wonderful and accompanied with Alan Menken's beautiful music. It really helped make this film. Speaking of music, Jeffrey Katzenberg actually wanted to remove a part of your world. They had done some testing and the kids were getting rowdy during the scene, and he said that, kids are going to get bored during this musical number. Well, Ron Clements, John Musker, and Glenn Keane, who was assigned to animate the scene, all protested and, said that the same thing happened during Wizard of Oz. The executives wanted to remove Somewhere Over the Rainbow because they thought that nobody wanted to see a little fat girl singing on screen for that amount of time, which is awful. It is a very similar analogy. So I guess, Jeffrey Katzenberg decided to do a second screening with full color, and the kids were much more pleased with it, so it was kept in. But can you imagine this film without a part of your world? Many of the supervising animators on Oliver and Company, like Glenn Keane, Mark Hahn, Ruben Aquino, they became supervising animators on this film. Some new animators as well. Andres Deja was brought in for King Triton. And Glenn Keane actually wanted to animate Ursula, because he had done these big broad characters like Ratigan in The Great Mouse Detective, and so he really wanted to do that, but he was assigned to Ariel with Mark Hahn, and he was, again, as I mentioned, assigned to Part of Your World. Jeffrey Katzenberg originally felt that this film would not do so well because it was a quote-unquote girls film, but then became convinced that this could be a blockbuster hit. So they put a lot of money and resources into the film, more than they had in decades, and they even had a division at the Disney MGM Studios at Walt Disney World, where they did a lot of the ink and paint. And speaking of ink and paint, The Little Mermaid was the last feature film to have hand-painted cells. Now, after that, with Rescuers Down Under, they used more of a digital approach. But, for those who collect cells, this was the last film where you could actually get legitimately hand-painted cells. In terms of casting, the most fascinating thing was with Ursula, who was based on Divine. They wanted somebody that was over the top. Howard Ashman was a big fan of Dynasty, and he wanted to have Joan Collins. Now, Pat Carroll actually wasn't the favored actress to work on it. They wanted to have B. Arthur, and they had her in mind, voicing the character. Now, she passed and then went on to several different actresses until Elaine Stritch. Elaine Stritch was assigned to it, but she clashed with Howard Ashman. And so finally, that's when they cast Pat Carroll. Another thing of note is that they were also eyeing Jim Carrey to do the voice of Prince Eric. Can you imagine Jim Carrey as Prince Eric? When The Little Mermaid was released, it was to great critical acclaim and also box office acclaim. It was the Disney film that did better than anything in decades. And so, again, this marked a renaissance for Disney animation. And after this, Jeffrey Katzenberg wanted Walt Disney Animation Studios to produce a film every year. And that's pretty much what they did throughout the 90s. The film was nominated at several different awards, most notably the Oscars, where it won Best Original Score. Alan Menken received that award. And it also received the award for Best Song for Under the Sea. Kiss the Girl was also nominated, but it was Under the Sea that won. Now, The Little Mermaid has a very special place in my heart. It came out during my freshman year at CalArts. Jeffrey Katzenberg, again, was very excited about the film. And because I went to CalArts, which was founded by Walt Disney, Disney invited the animation department to come over and watch the film. And I remember afterward, we were all entranced because, for years, we had seen films that were good, good to like mediocre. I still love all of those films, but there was nothing like The Little Mermaid with its, Broadway musical numbers and just this fantastic animation on, the Ariel and Ursula, and it was just such a marked difference. And I remember afterward, a bunch of us there was a pillar in the animation studios, and back in that day, you could just draw on anything and you wanted. And so we all took Sharpies and we all drew characters. And I remember I drew Flotsam and Jetsam, and I think I drew Sebastian on that. And I wish that they didn't paint over it. But a few years after I left CalArts, they decided to make it look more professional and painted all of the pillars and things like that people had drawn on, which was, very sad to me. But just because I just feel that was such a, legendary pillar at such an amazing time. But anyway, I think I might have a picture of it. If I do, I will post it up here. But yes, I love this movie. I don't collect Ariel in terms of pins or anything just because her popularity is so big, and I don't tend to collect things that have a big popularity. But in my heart, I love this film so much. So I'm curious, what did you think of this film? And do you have any special memories of watching The Little Mermaid when you were younger, or even just if you were my age, a young adult? I'd love to know that in the comments below. Let me know your experience watching this film. That again has a very special place in my heart. All right, well, that is it. If you enjoyed this program, we'd love it if you would subscribe to our channel, hit the bell for notifications, and do like this post, as it really does help us out. Visit us on all of our socials down below. Visit our website at www.castlescapesandclones.com. Thank you so much, and we will see you later. Bye!